I don't know if it is this, but it feels like we're a little bit back to our bread and butter, and we'll see if we'll get that rhythm going again as we jump into the fall. So to kick off that rhythm, we will dive into our football fan cave with a quick recap of week 2 in the NFL. Quite a few unexpected 2-0 teams here. The two I wanted to highlight were the Carolina Panthers, who definitively beat the New Orleans Saints on Sunday, 26-7. Great defensive performance. New Orleans didn't score until the fourth quarter. So really impressive stuff from this young and talented Carolina defense. And then Sam Darnold on the other side, starting to show that it was probably more of a New York Jets fault than his own in some of his play. And he hasn't been outstanding, but he certainly managed the game and kept things going. And Carolina playing Houston on Thursday for Thursday Night Football, really great opportunity in front of them now. They're going up against a rookie quarterback, Davis Mills. Really great opportunity to start 3-0 and definitely turn some heads early in this season. Another team that is possibly a surprising choice to have started 2-0, also considering they played in the first 2 games, Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Beating both of those teams was the Las Vegas Raiders, who are 2-0 on the season. A massive win going west to east, playing the early game in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field and stealing that win. Again, pretty convincing. Derrick Henry awesome so far, and this Raiders defense knows how to create plays. Quite a few playmakers there with Max Crosby and Jonathan Abram. And the Vegas Raiders, my Denver Broncos, also 2-0. So those two teams sit atop the AFC West at the end of this week of football, which I don't think anyone was expecting. But so far, so good for the Raiders, and it's been fun to have the two West divisions, the NFC West and the AFC West, are definitely the deepest in football. So it'll be fun to watch them all year as it goes along. Couple more notes to touch on here. Kyler Murray, again, so much fun to watch. I cannot believe that I was blessed enough to pick him in fantasy this year. Another 30-plus point performance, 3 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, and they needed every single last one of those points as they beat the Minnesota Vikings 34-33 in an absolute shootout. And yeah, I am so on the Kyler Murray bandwagon right now. He looks like a video game character with the way he quickly scrambles out and around the pocket. He doesn't scramble too much downfield, more side to side, making the defenders look like they're moving in slow motion and just firing passes. And he had one to Rondale Moore, who was wide open. And this is a rookie out of Purdue who just has pure speed to burn. And they've got some really fun plays on offense, and the defense a lot better looking last week against Tennessee, but did just enough to get the win against Minnesota this week. Tom Brady is ready to set his MVP campaign. It seems like they're just trying to rack up his numbers at this point, running very, very few run plays in the red zone. He had 5 touchdowns this weekend, 2 of those to Rob Gronkowski. So Gronk already with 4 touchdowns on the season, and Brady's just cooking everywhere. And the Bucs they almost put up 50 on the Atlanta Falcons, blowing them out. 2 defensive touchdowns as well in that game for Tampa Bay. So if you had the Bucs defense in fantasy, you were having a great time on Sunday.
Yes, they've done their underdog season. Now it's time to just embrace the OPness.
And so that's such an important thing, is that everyone kind of had given them that 1 year as a buffer to really figure things out, especially in the COVID shortened preseason. They didn't have time to work together. This was supposed to be the year that they were actually going to go out and dominate everyone. So they've already got their Super Bowl. This is gravy, and they all expect on that team to go back to back. It's going to be really, really fun to watch this team this season. They're going to get everyone's best effort, but they seem to be clicking on both sides of the ball here as in the early going. The last game I wanted to touch on was the Baltimore Ravens Sunday Night Football. Absolutely killing all bettors out there. I think 95% of the money landed on the Kansas City Chiefs in that game. It was the Chiefs were favored by 3.5 points, and the Baltimore Ravens, with some turnover luck, force a fumble on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then they score twice to jump ahead 36-35. They get that fumble, get the ball back, and they go for it on 4th and 1. Lamar Jackson making it look easy, and a huge win for Baltimore, to win a ton of money for Vegas and all of the brand new sports books out there. And also a big win for the Ravens because they were starting to get that vibe of a team that just could not, this Chiefs team just had their number in the previous 5 matchups, and they finally managed to slay the dragon in a sense. Still regular season, but an important win for them after getting upset by the Raiders in week 1. So they're back on track, tied atop the AFC North with Cincinnati and with Pittsburgh as well there. It's a division that is a little bit weaker than everyone was expecting. But all of those teams there all have a shot at it and be really interesting to follow them. Cleveland as well is the 4th team in there with a big win against Houston yesterday. That one is completely up for grabs. So looking forward to see how that plays out. My top fantasy performer of the week, Derrick Henry, Tractor Cito, an absolute unit, just smashing our perceptions of what running back should be. He had 370 touches over the last 2 seasons and has just been an absolute workhorse. And after a pretty quiet week 1, came out and delivered big time with 2 touchdowns, around 190 rushing yards, and an overtime win for the Tennessee Titans over the Seattle Seahawks. He had 47.7 fantasy points. So if you had him on your fantasy team, you're riding and dying with his performance. So you probably lost last week, but definitely won this week with a big performance from Derrick Henry. Looking forward to week 3. I'm really, really excited for this matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Los Angeles Rams. This will be the best game by far next week. Everything else is a little bit meh, but we still watch nonetheless. It's going to be Tom Brady's prolific offense going up against Aaron Donald and this star-studded Rams defense. It's going to be really fun to see the adjustments made. And you're going to see 2 guys air it out, Tom Brady and Matt Stafford on both sides of the ball. So I expect a lot of points in this game and a lot of trickeration on the side of the offense to pull out some fun stuff that they've been holding for a special game like this. So really fun week 2. Looking forward to week 3. And that's going to wrap up my football fan cave for this week.